Yeah. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Five Reasons Sports Post Game Show. The Heat dropped their fourth straight game, 109-82 to the Denver Nuggets. Look, I know a lot of people are coming on here expecting me to melt down and rail on the team. This is one of those losses that I was talking about that you kind of saw coming when you heard the news. Goran's not playing, Tyler's not playing, Jimmy's not playing. I mean, against one of the better teams in the Western Conference, you're not really expecting to come out with much success. But I'm joined by the Alex Toledo live from in studio.
It's still
Uh,
not a thing.
and my man Jonathan Romlikan, who hosted last stream, the fight versus me and Ricky, I guess. That's what everybody's calling it. But Romlikan. Oh, and speaking of the man, the myth, the legend himself, we're joined by Ricky J. Mark as well.
Hello,
But
hello.
I'm going to throw this to Jonathan. Jonathan, I'm not going to offer much in terms of analysis, uh, but I'm going to lean on you guys to do so. What did you see from tonight's game?
First quarter, obviously, just horrible start again. That's been a common theme for this team this year. Is just we start out just really bad in the first quarter. Shooting was horrendous. Second or third straight game that we've shot horrendous. I think that Crotty said, or Eric Reed said, 37%. We shot 37%. I'm looking up the stats, but season low, 37% or lower. We were allowing way too many three-point shots, even though they weren't starting to go in. We knew these shots that they were going to take were going to start to go in. I did like to see KZ start on Murray. That was really interesting to see, and he did a pretty good job for the most part. And I'm really liking to see KZ get a little more aggressive and have a little more of a role on it defensively. So that was good to see. Bam started off good, but then he seemed to mellow out again and a little bit later. And we used all our gas in the third quarter again to try to make up another gap. And after we run out of gas and cut it to 7, we just let it up from there.
Okay, so Ricky, I'm gonna toss this to you. Yeah, he mentioned KZ. KZ had an awkward game. He didn't do anything offensively, but defensively he played well. You're one of his biggest supporters. Talk something about what you saw from KZ and what you saw from some of the rest of the guys tonight.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Well, the thing is with KZ, I think this was just another up and down game. We're going to be getting uneven performances from KZ until he truly gets his rhythm in this league. I mean, let's be honest. The guy, for all intents and purposes, is a rookie the way Duncan Robinson was a rookie last season. He hasn't played. He played, I don't think he played 20 minutes last season. He had no summer league. He had one game in preseason. And minutes are important right now. So if he messes up, he might get pulled early. Look, I think pretty much from start to finish, this was just a thrashing from a superior team. There was a quick run early, late in the third quarter that one might say is designed to give false hope. But once the Nuggets starters got back in there and started playing their game, which they were able to do without too much resistance, that was the ball game. And look, this was just one of those losses where the other team was just straight up better than we were.
So normally this would be where you and our opinions seem to part ways, but tonight we're on the same accord. I'm not taking much from this loss or this game at all because it's one of those instances where to me this is what I would deem an acceptable loss considering how shorthanded we were. I thought that Alex he's doing more important things. When he feels free, he could jump in. But
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Well, Alex, you're in there. What did you see from close up that probably a lot of us were missed?
Look, man, I mean, I don't know what to point out that wasn't obvious and evident watching the game. I mean, they had no chance. Without Tyler, without Goran, without Jimmy, they have nobody who can do anything with the ball in their hands at an NBA level versus NBA starters, right? Outside of Bam, of course. I think, Bam can only do so much. But when you talk about not having your three best and only really ball handling guards completely out of the game, they just had no shot other than just getting on fire from three or Bam dropping 40 or something like that. And they shot 29% from three. That was the whole plan, right? Like all they have is a bunch of shooters and Bam. And it's either make a whole ton of threes or you got no shot. And that's really what it came down to. Like, I just don't know how to make evaluations about this team right now, man. I know it just sounds repetitive because we keep not seeing a sample of them healthy. But what am I going to do with this? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just not even close to the product that we're supposed to be expecting.
I think I think Adam mentioned it. People could just go back and look at like the last 4 post game shows, and they're going to get a similar analysis to this, where there's like no general, like we have no earthly idea what this team is without seeing them play whole. And you can get disappointed at some losses, but other ones you just have to understand that they're playing undermanned and all that. Another one of you mentioned the shooting, Jonathan. I'm gonna throw this to you. The shooting can primarily be attributed to Duncan. He's our shooter, and this is what the 3rd game in a row where he shot below his standard. What's going on with him, or what is it that you're saying that's going on with Duncan?
I think it's a little bit credit too that we're missing 3 of our creators. You know what I mean? 3 of our guys that can draw the defense a little bit away from him, and obviously he's top 3 shooter in the league. So teams are going to pay attention to him now, especially with Bam and him being probably the 2 main offensive threats that if they go off, they can really, hurt you. I feel like teams are just locking down on him a little bit more now because, he's the other guy. Bam and him are going to do a dribble handoff. Precious and him are going to do a dribble handoff. And honestly, that's mostly what he has to his game right now. Until he develops more of a dribble drive or faking those shots and being able to take his opponents off the dribble for overplaying him, he's just going to have that one-dimensional offense where if there's not another player on the team taking away a little bit of the defense, it's going to be a lot harder for him to create his own shot. So I think that pressure is catching up to him. And once we see Jimmy back, once we see Goran back, once we see Hero back, if we can all get them together, I think we'll see a little bit more Duncan Robinson. Just have a little more space, a little more room to operate where teams aren't just solely focused on him.
So you brought up Precious, and I think Ricky, you've been one of the biggest trumpeteers for this, and that's Bam and Precious minutes together on the floor, and we got a little bit of that tonight. Did you see anything about that you like, anything that you didn't like in terms of how they were working together? I can't hear you, Ricky. Your mic's off. Ricky,
you muted, brother.
We can't hear you, brother.
Oops. Yeah, it's one of those nights. It's one of those nights.
Yeah.
I think my internet connection is kind of goofy tonight. But if I'm just gonna guess, I think you were asking about Bam and Precious out on the floor together. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. I mean, it's early. I liked seeing them out there because there was at least one possession that I distinctly remember where Bam was actually able to take a jumper, and you saw Precious just wrestling inside for rebounds. That is a welcome sight because, in the last few games when Bam has gone off, it would be either, sink or swim. If he misses the rebound, that's the end of the possession because the guys on the floor are not going to be, they're in no position to physically or talent wise to rebound against who was out there. I would like to see that more. I think, at least I hope that the coaching staff recognizes that there is something that is worth building upon. But yeah, we'll have to see. I think we'll have opportunities in the future to see more chances at that kind of front court. Because yeah, I am a proponent of it. I'd like to see more of that. Is everybody hearing me okay? Because I feel like the internet is. Am I breaking up
this time?
We can hear you fine.
Okay.
So I want to acknowledge the 3 comments in a row. First of all, I want to shout out DMin05 for the $5 donation. He said, "Kill this season with fire." And then Jay's comment right behind it said, "Ricky got that Ethernet." That was actually pretty funny.
That was good.
And then Stangalang said,
"That's fair."
Stangalang said, "Jimmy ain't fixing this team." I want to talk something about that. I want to touch on that a little bit because we saw Jimmy out there with the team tonight for the first time in a long time, which was a welcome sight. But when you looked at Jimmy, he looked really thin. Like Jimmy was really skinny out here. As we have Adam Clutch NBA joining us here. Thanks for your presence, I guess, with the shave face. Ramlakan, I mean, did you see how thin Jimmy looked out there? And how long do you think it'll take before his body is back in playing shape after what you saw?
I mean, yeah, he did look a little bit slim, you know what I mean? And if it was something where he was symptomatic and he had to take a couple of days off training, it's natural for your body just to slim down a little bit. And as soon as you get back into the gym, you get that pump right back. You know what I mean? So he might just be have a little bit of inactivity. As far as, how long it'll take for him to come back, maybe, it might take a week for him to get his legs under him. But we have to also think that Jimmy was coming off of this crazy finals run. He hurt himself a little bit early in the season, and sure, the whole COVID protocol and all that sucks. But hey, Jimmy got some more rest. You know what I mean? And I think that's honestly something that we can take out of this as a positive. You know what I mean? Where Jimmy got to rest his legs a little bit more. He's a little bit older. He has that Thibodeau tread on his tires. And having him, rest a little bit at the beginning of the season might benefit us later, because now he'll be able to push once he comes here till we have that little bit of break. He'll get another break, and then from there we'll be able to go forward. So I think it'll take a little bit of time for him to come back, but now we have a little bit more of an aggressive band, so he'll be able to play B superstar anyways.
So I want to shout out. Who was that? I missed it. Oh, shout out Alex Campbell for the $4.99 donation. He said the importance of Jimmy and Hero on offense is being shown, and I agree. I also want to acknowledge David Smith's comment up there. It was a 2K reference. He said, "Nah, y'all tripping. Jimmy got Hall of Fame floor general." For those 2K players, you know that he makes everybody on the floor better. Yes, I believe when Jimmy comes back, he will have an immediate impact. But the impact that we're expecting should be tempered based off of how he looked tonight, the fact that he was dealing with injuries prior to going out, and all the other circumstances that he's been dealing with. Adam, I want to get you in here a little bit as you put in your headphones. Okay, I'll give you 1 minute. Then I'll throw this. Well, that's actually a pretty dope comment. Ricky, did you see the dunk attempt by Max Strus?
Yeah. Okay. So first things first, I should have said this earlier, but I just want to give my thoughts and prayers to the Smith family. We lost a giant in the journalism business, Seiku Smith, who, when it comes to podcasting, nobody was better. He was a pioneer with that sort of thing. COVID-19 it's a word I'm not going to say because this is a family show, but for those of you that think it's a joke, it's not. This guy was on NBA TV at the beginning of this month, and now he's no longer here. But yeah, so thoughts and prayers to his family. It's immeasurable, the loss that I feel like it's like a family member. But yeah, now he would want the show to go on, so that's what's going to happen. Now, wow. Okay. I'm sorry. What was your question?
No, absolutely, because that was very well said. But we were talking about Max Strus and the dunk attempt where he got injured.
Gotcha. Okay, so here's the thing with Max Strus. I commend him for that kind of aggressiveness. It's not every day that snipers go to the basket that hard. I am truly concerned. I'm honestly shocked that he continued to play after that, because he did hit his head, I want to say twice. I believe the league has a concussion protocol when it comes to that sort of thing. And whenever a player hits their head on the floor, or especially when they hit their head, their neck, their back, you sit them down, you have them undergo examination. I'm not sure that happened, because I saw him playing like a minute later, and I have a hard time believing the doctor was able to check him out that quickly. That was concerning to me. That said, when he's back fully healthy, I want him to keep doing that, because you want your shooters, like we were talking about with Duncan Robinson not too long ago. We want we want our shooters to diversify their game, and when that happens, that's better for everybody. Yeah. So as far as Strus is concerned, I hope he's okay. And wow, that was a scary fall. I mean, you could hear him,
scream right after.
Hollering. Yeah, that hurt.
He shouldn't have gone for that.
Yeah, you said he shouldn't have gone for it.
I mean, look, it went from where I'm sitting. It happened on the opposite side of the court, so I couldn't see exactly how far he jumped from my end. He looked like he jumped from way too far. Like, I couldn't believe that he went for that dunk. Like, the ball's on that man for doing that, because I didn't think he had it in him.
He got there though. He might
have made it. He might have made it. So we're gonna switch gears a little bit. We're gonna throw this.
The defender saw it coming either.
No, I think it was an accident. So I want to shout out to Abdel for the $4.99 donation. I get we're undermanned, but the scoring droughts to start and finish games is becoming a bad habit. Look, that's been the case even when Jimmy has been playing. We've been going through scoring droughts, which is probably why so many people are harping on needing an alpha score like a Bradley Beal or something added to this team. So I do believe that Jimmy fixes that in part, but I don't believe he fixes that problem in total. Adam, I want to kind of throw this to you because Ricky brought up the COVID thing, and tomorrow we're playing the Clippers, who are missing Kawhi, PG, and Patrick Beverly tomorrow. So just talk about how you predict that game going, and what is it that the league should be doing about this COVID thing, because it seems to be getting out of hand.
I think, well, to answer your first question, I think the Heat need to view this next game as a must-win. When they're missing Kawhi and they're missing Paul George, you have to go in with that mentality, and you have to put up more than 81 points in that game. I also want to just mention the schedule that the Heat have coming up. So they're playing the Clippers tomorrow without Kawhi and PG. They have the Kings, the Hornets, the Wizards twice, and the Knicks twice. Right, so they have a lot of room that they can, or a lot of ground that they can cover here over this stretch. And it starts with this Clippers game tomorrow, and they need to win it to get a win streak going. And I told Royal before the game, I said this is the first game that they have an opportunity to win and get a win streak going. Hopefully Jimmy comes back next week. I think he will. And Tyler, he's on the verge of coming back. So this team is coming together very slowly. So they're going to put it together.
Alex, how soon into that streak do you think that they can start putting some wins together?
Oh man, now you hit me with the tough one, huh? Jesus. Well, look, I don't think. I mean, I think they should be able to win next game, right? No Kawhi, no Paul George. Shit, if they're gonna get Tyler or Jimmy back, they should definitely be able to win next game. Even without those guys, they should. I mean, it would be nice to pick up some wins here, especially like some of these easier games, man, like the Hornets, the Kings, the Wizards, the Knicks. Like, you gotta be able to win the majority of these games. And I know like they're missing a whole lot. And look, if we keep getting games like this where it's no Goran, no Tyler, no Jimmy, then good luck, because I just really don't think this team has any shot. Like, they just have no type of offense outside of trying to create stuff with Bam and Duncan handoff, and Bam trying to create for everybody else because nobody else can dribble. But if just at least one of those guys comes back, I think they should be able to pick up a few wins here, man. Like, these are not good teams you're playing. The Kings have been the worst defensive team. The Wizards have been right there. The Knicks are the best team of the bunch that you got coming up.
Alex, and to add to that, though, about the offensive efficiency, I think there was a 4-minute gap in the start of the second quarter where the best offensive player on the court was Avery Bradley, who had just come back from
no love for Andre
absence. Yeah, exactly. A 37-year-old Andre Iguodala. So
you see him doing stuff.
Oh no, he was inspirational in the fourth quarter. I mean, they were down 14, and he was hyping them up like it was a 2-point game in the finals.
Yeah, well, that's what you need from your vets. It's true. I saw the same thing out of UD going into halftime. You saw UD just coaching Bam as they were going in, even though it looked really bad heading into that. Just a random note, not to go back to miserable times, but the Brooklyn Nets are only up 3 against the Atlanta Hawks in overtime. It's 129-126.
Again?
Yeah. They're giving. They're giving an ATL just missed a 3-pointer, so it looks like the Nets might actually be able to escape it. Here's the thing. I think it was one of you that brought this up, where right now our offense is predicated around Bam doing something and finding Duncan for a 3 off of a dribble handoff. It's no surprise that we will go on scoring droughts. I know we already had that problem before, but that, our current situation right now just exacerbates the problem, especially if we are going by, it's basically a feast or famine type situation right now for us. And I think it might have been you, other Royal, the guy up here, right here, that said that at least one of those guys coming back can, in a way, unlock our offense in a way that'll, I don't know, at least give us hope, But the thing is, look, we're heading into, I saw that based on that schedule. Now, it's not typical that something like this happens, but it honestly would not surprise me if we ran off like a 5 to 6 game winning streak. Those teams are teams. Yeah, those teams are teams that we should beat. Would it shock me if we lost to those games with everything that's happened this season? No. But look, I'm glad that the standings are up right now. We are about 6-11 right now. If we win 5 out of the next 6, we're what, 12-12? No, 11-12. Sorry. That puts us right back in the playoffs if the season ended for some reason. Now,
No, I
with
think
regards
that's an
to the
interesting point, though. I want to
Mhm,
get Jonathan. I want to get Jonathan in here. First of
sure.
all, I want to thank DMin05 for the $5, another $5 donation. But I want to get Jonathan in here to talk about the point that Ricky was just making about how this schedule has softened up and how we do have an opportunity to make a run at some games here. Now, out of those 9 games that we pulled up earlier, I saw about 5, 6 games that should be winnable. Uh, is that what you see happening? Do you think that we're going to pick up those 5, 6 wins based off of what you've seen from this team?
Yeah, I think we can get majority. Might lose, 2 or 3 of the games, just off of the crappy play like we've been playing. You know what I mean? If we kind of slip back to old habits, but if like they were saying, if we do get some of our creators back, that just makes it so much easier on Bam. You know what I mean? If we get a hero back who was doing really well before he was injured, and a Goron, if we have at least 2 of those guys back, it makes it a lot easier. And knowing that we're going to get Jimmy back sometime during that run only makes me feel a little bit more confident about that run that we can make. And like Adam said, it has to start with tomorrow because that's the first really true winnable game that we're going to have in the recent memory, maybe before the Pistons, which is the last week, but it's a short season so far. But, in recent memory, we really haven't, 2 against Brooklyn. Tonight, we really figured we weren't going to win against the Nuggets. But if we can get 6 of these next couple games, that'll put us right between 6 and the 5 seed, knocking off a couple of people that are ahead of us as well. Like Alex said, the Knicks, you know what I mean? So the Knicks are actually ahead of us. That's sad to say. But,
Oh, yeah.
I think we can get some of these games. I think this really could be the beginning of where it starts to look good for the Heat.
I think Michael
Yeah.
makes a really good point that the soft schedule doesn't mean anything. He said, "Remember the Wizards game from earlier." Ricky, I think you want to jump in.
Yes, absolutely. So here's the thing. Now I know that I said that we could potentially win 5 out of the next 6, but here's the thing. I'm looking at. I've been watching the Knicks this season. We are not entitled to beat them. We
No,
are not
Julius Randle
entitled
has
to
been
beat
playing
them.
really well this year.
All right, we are not entitled to beat them. And then there's the Rockets, who could be in a much better rhythm than they are now, because I believe it was just the other night when Victor Oladipo and John Wall are starting to figure out how to play with each other, along with Christian Wood and some of those other guys. Hopefully, assuming we get our guys back, at least some of them, and most of them by the end of this, I can see. I don't know. Even with Paul George and everybody back, I could see us still struggling with the Clippers. We can definitely beat the Hornets unless Gordon Hayward goes off or something. We could split with the Knicks. We could beat the Washington. We could sweep the Wizards. But look, if we have close to a winning record, then I think we'll be okay. That'll be a good sign for us moving forward. And yes, you are absolutely right, Jay.
Adam, I see you trying to jump in, but I want to shout out Alex Campbell right quick for the $4.99 donation. Thank you very much. His comment said, "To be fair, we played the Bucks, Sixers, and Nets each twice without our starting lineups every time. So 6 of our 11 losses are against top teams," which is it's true. It's true. But some of those games were also very winnable. So Adam, what is it that you wanted to jump in and say?
Well, I wanted to address Michael's comment, and then I wanted to interject what Ricky was saying. So Michael said that the Wizards game isn't a gimme, right? But that's what we're given, right? They're the worst team in the league right now, and they're 17% of our wins right now, right? 1 of our 6. Ricky, I disagree with your notion on the Knicks, how we're not entitled to that win. I think we absolutely are. We're gonna have it's a February 7th game, I believe. We're gonna have Jimmy back. We're gonna have Tyler back. We're gonna
Hopefully.
have Warren back. We will. That's like 2 weeks from now.
We could get another protocol in 2 weeks. That's why I'm not saying anything is
absolutely promised. No, you're absolutely right. But it's a few weeks from now. You expect that those players will be there and will be available, and that right there was a finals team. So you were entitled to beat a team that didn't even make the playoffs last year. It's not an excuse.
Okay, I'll get to Christian's comment in a second, but I do want to address something else. Somebody said that they're talking about us. Are we at the point in the season where we're excited about beating? Oh, it was Young Shad beats. Is the goal only to win against scrubs? I think that's the point where we are in the season where we haven't been picking up the gimme games, and so
6 and 11.
yeah. There have been some gimme games that we've dropped, but it's like at this point that should be our starting goal: win the games that we should win. Is it not, Ricky?
Well, yeah, I mean, at this point, like you said, we've lost games that we were supposed to win, and we haven't won enough of the games that we may or may not have been favored in. Thing is, right now, just to see us win a game is a good thing. It works wonders. I mean, for those of you that have played sports in high school, college, or even rec league. It feels good winning games. That does a great deal of that has a great impact on how you practice, how you play in the following games. You get more confident. Look, we know these guys feel good to a certain extent about themselves, but hey, if they start like, for example, not to rehash old history, but that's all we have right now. If I feel like a lot of what we're dealing with right now, if we had beaten the Sixers, that the first game, the one where they didn't have too much of everybody, but the one where we were up 5 with like 2 seconds left. If we had won that game, I think we win maybe 1 or 2 more games between then and now, but we didn't. One win can change the course of a lot of things, the same way one loss can. Happened back in 2005-06 after we got blown out by the Mavs. The Heat had a team meeting, and then they went on a tear afterwards. It was like a come to Jesus meeting. So hey, I think one win can make a difference, especially.
They just need to play the Mavs.
Yeah, I agree with Ricky though. One win can make the difference, but the reality is that we've lost 5 straight, and one of the major reasons for that, to go back to Christian Torres' comment, is the rebounding. Tonight we got out rebounded 49-38, and we got outscored in the paint 50-28. So, Jonathan, I'm gonna throw this to you. Like, what's been the problem in the paint aside from what we already know, which is that we don't have a power forward? Is it the defense or is it just personnel?
It's a little bit of both, because we can't contain anybody driving in, and once we let somebody drive in, we're either letting them kick it out to a wide open shooter, or we're not helping fast enough and allowing somebody at the rim. And like you said, it's a little bit personnel as well. Outside of Precious and Bam, who's guarding the rim? Nobody's guarding the rim. So I think that's why we really haven't seen them play too much together outside of a little bit out of tonight. But we don't have anybody that can protect the rim right now. You know what I mean? And outside of maybe Avery coming back today, who else was guarding on the perimeter? They're going to switch everything with Bam, and if Bam's on the perimeter, then there's nobody on the interior. So that switchability with Bam does kind of hurt us a little bit, because it kind of draws him out of the paint, especially when we have nobody else there to help us. But I think once we get a little bit of our defenders back, especially with Jimmy guarding the perimeter, I think that should help at least alleviate some of that interior defense and allow Bam to do that work.
So somebody did correct me in the comments. They said that it is 4 straight. So I said 5, but yes, it is 4. She feels like we've been disrespectful to Ricky. Okay. So somebody said we have 2 7-foot overpaid marshmallows. Alex, can KO be saved at this point? Like, it seems like he's routinely being talked about as one of the worst players on the court.
Yeah, I mean, I just miss when he was baby Jokic off the bench and not Luke Babbitt as a starter. Like, I think they just have him out there as a pick and pop guy, and yeah, he can pick and pop, but I just like when he's doing other stuff and he's active with dribble handoffs and stuff at least. Because if it's just about his 3-point game, then why? What's the point of him? What? It's just a 7-foot Luke Babbitt. I think he could do a little bit more than pick and pop, and it just sucks because he's a placeholder for the starting lineup. We all know he's not a closer. We know he's not their long-term solution next to Bam. So I don't know who they're supposed to start there. Maybe KZ, maybe Andre, if you want to go back to switching stuff, and to have a better defender in there. But there's just no easy answer, and it just goes back to this whole thing with there's no easy answer for somebody at the 4.
He mentioned Jokic, and I want to talk something about Jokic's game tonight. Jokic put up probably the easiest 21 and 11 that I've seen in a long time from anybody. It seemed like he could do whatever he wants. He only had 3 assists tonight, but he was doing pretty much what.
Manny, you need to stop being messy, dog.
No, for real.
Manny doesn't even know my situation, man. What's up with this?
Oh my goodness.
But either way, though,
and for Alana too, Alana's sake, it'd be even
Hey,
more.
wait a minute. First of all, I'm not the only producer here, all right? There's somebody else here that has buttons. That's all you need to know. There's somebody else here that has buttons.
I thought it was me.
That's why there should only be one producer, but it is what it is.
It's always 3-4.
What are you calling out though?
Thanks for Manny coming in here and defending his own. I think we all know. Hands up, everybody who can produce.
I'm just saying I definitely didn't play that comment.
So I want to throw it to Clutch. Clutch, why was Jokic able to get pretty much whatever he wanted tonight?
I think it was because they were playing a zone defense and they were allowing Jokic in the middle of the paint, and he was really doing whatever he wants. And when you have a good shooter like Jokic in the middle of the paint with the options to pass or just hit an easy floater, there's not much you could do. He's just going to get an automatic 20 points. And I just want to make it clear, the issues with this team is not that they're losing these games. because they're not supposed to be winning these games without these players. The issue is they're not winning the games they're supposed to win. And two, the offensive deficiencies on this team. A team in the NBA shouldn't be putting up 30 points in a half consistently over the last 3 or 4 games, right? There are teams that have lost plenty of offensive talent over the years, and they still don't put up 30 points in a half. That's my concern with this team. But I don't think it's time to panic just yet because of this stretch that they have coming up.
Yeah, I want to throw this to Jonathan because we routinely, I think you brought it up first, though, that we routinely have been falling into these pretty deep holes. Like, is there any adjustment that'll get us off to a better start to games? And I think I want to throw this question around to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think, first of all, not having a creator and relying on Bam, that's been a big reason why we've come out on these holes, because Bam has to be the guy that does it all. I think tonight, I think I have it here. Bam started with just the first 7 or first 9 points he's either scored or assisted. And we went down 9-22 or something like that early. So Bam can't do it all right now. You know what I mean? And that's what he's being forced to do. But I think that's one of the reasons we're starting in a hole. Another reason is we always tend to have turnovers early in the game. You know what I mean? And we allow the opponent to get these big leads, so allows them to set their defense. We just don't do enough things to help make the opponent uncomfortable. You know what I mean? We make it too comfortable for them. We make it too easy for them. We give them easy points, easy 3-point shots. We're turning over the ball. We're not shooting well from 3. So I think we really just have to get a little more creation. And once some of our players come back, that should really help it, because just having Bam alone and Kendrick Nunn as our 2 primary offensive guys, that can't be it for right now.
That was a really interesting comment that just got pulled up, but I'm going to throw this to Ricky. Ricky, what do you think is the problem with us at the beginning of games?
Well, we tend to start cold, and I mean, I don't want to repeat too much of what Jonathan said. I mean, I feel like he's spot on. So yeah, if we start off cold, that's it. That's pretty much the ball game. It's an uphill climb when we're already out of gas. I do want to go back to one thing though, with regards to Nikola Jokic. He's not just a center. He's averaging 25.4 points a game, 11.9 rebounds, and 9.3 assists a game. This guy's a top 5 player, if not top 3 in the league. No one's just going to stop him. Bam was not going to stop him tonight. Precious was not going to stop him tonight. He is one of those players that he does his thing, and we just deal with it and worry about everybody else. Jokic has been a monster this season. It's not an accident that he has been an MVP candidate. Did we have the personnel to deal with some of the other guys? No, we didn't. I mean, outside of Andre Iguodala and Avery Bradley, who I think they played around 15 to 16 minutes each, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 16 minutes just about. We didn't have the personnel to stop someone like a Michael Porter Jr. or a Gary Harris or anything like that. I mean, it was, in many ways, we were kind of doomed from the start. And this isn't necessarily just I'm not here trying to make like excuses for why we lost or anything like that. It's just we didn't have the personnel to stay in front of these guys. They went off.
No, honestly, tonight is one of the nights that you and I are in lockstep with that. Like tonight, we just didn't have the personnel to finish out the game. Like you mentioned, Michael Porter Jr. He was like a second leading scorer off the bench. He had like 17 points. And it seemed like he was making all his. He's on like 3 or 7. Yeah,
all of his threes were in the fourth quarter.
yeah. So it's kind of like, I got a question for Clutch. What is Michael Porter Jr.? He's kind of ambiguous in terms of what his race is. I don't know.
Well, he's black. He's black. His mother's white. He's black.
Oh, okay. Thanks. That answers that.
He light skin. That's it.
Isn't he MAGA?
Nope. No? He's. Hey,
I'm pretty sure I heard the thing MAGA Porter Jr. before.
Yeah, he was kind of like a, before he caught COVID, he was kind of, yeah. But that said, all skin folk ain't your kinfolk. We're just talking about his ethnicity.
So I almost took the show off the rails. I think we were doing really good with the basketball talk. But now my mind is on Michael Porter Jr. not being kinfolk, and
actually, I do have I guess a take on Porter. Even though I believe he injured his back while he was at Mizzou, I still saw him as a top 5. I mean, this guy, if he were healthy, he would have been a top 5 pick. You're talking about a guy who, let's pretend defense doesn't exist in this universe, but this guy was a 6'10" shooting guard. The guy had KD comparisons from high school. The injury knocked him down a peg, but I believe he was still close to a lottery pick if he wasn't. He had the year off, and going into last season, as a matter of fact, you saw pundits, whether it be on TNT, ESPN, or wherever, they were saying, look out for the Nuggets because as good as they were getting at the end of that season, Michael Porter is basically like a free agent, a star free agent acquisition or a first round draft pick. Exact. And if he commits to playing defense, he's going to be dangerous for this Nuggets team, which is just incredible. He's a 6'10" wing, essentially, that can do a lot of things on offense. It's just a matter of focus.
No, I entirely agree with you about how good Michael Porter Jr. is. You start to see him kind of come into his own a little bit towards the bubble, and you start to see that he's a very capable scorer. So I did want to talk about this question, Roy. Would I rather have Bam or Alonzo Morning? That's actually a very tough question for me to answer because I believe they're both elite defenders for their eras, I guess. I think at this point I would like Bam. Like I know Zoe's, Mount Rushmore of Miami Heat players, but I think Bam's offensive potential exceeds what Zoe was able to do, and his defensive potential, probably rivals Zoe. So I think Bam is the choice for me. That's a good question for everybody, though.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Patrick Ewing was the only Georgetown graduate, like in terms of the guys that came out of the big man school of that era, with a solid, like with the best offensive game. The guy had a feathery jump shot. I know in previous streams I've talked about how Bam's jumper rivals Patrick Ewing's in terms of how smooth it looks. The guys that came out of Georgetown in that era, they had like one heavy jab step and then like a jump hook that just looked, very, I guess, awkward. But in terms of, who would we want today? Look, it's blasphemy, but Morning's offensive game came after a while. Bam's offensive game, like what Game said, has a much higher ceiling than Zoe. It's just a matter of era fit. That said, the guy was an all-time great. Though I suspect he probably would be shooting threes now, so who knows?
Lonzo, I think so. Ramlakan, who you got, Bam or Zoe? And I'm going to ask Clutch the question that came in the comments.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Bam, especially in today's game. You know what I mean? He's such a mobile big man center. As far as defensive big men, it's hard to think who was as good of guarding a 1 to 5, like as far as a big man. You know what I mean? In previous NBA's history, and I think Ricky, the historian of the game, might know somebody who can guard 1 to 5 in older eras. But I think Bam's defense is a little more unique as well, where he can guard the 1 to 5. He can guard pretty much any player on the floor. And offensively, he still hasn't hit his peak yet. We still don't know what he can become. We're just seeing the intro of Bam's real full offensive potential. You know what I mean? And it's almost scary to say that because it's like, what really is his ceiling? They talk about Bam being no ceiling. It's like, what is his ceiling going to be? Yeah, exactly. Just crushing down. What was it? 20 shots to have 41 points.
Look at Kyrie.
You know what I mean? He was wishing he was on the Heat on that shot. But yeah, I think I'm gonna take Bam. Of course, all respect to Zoe, but I think it's an era thing. It's, with Bam just still having that room to grow as well.
Absolutely. So, Clutch, we're gonna get to the question that was in the comments by that Bland guy. Any chance Robinson gets flipped at the deadline? I don't see the Heat paying him if he continues. The report did come out today that Duncan could command between $15 and $20 million this summer in free agency. So, Adam, how do you see that shaking out?
I think Ricky and I thought you said the same thing about the commenter, but I thought it said the black guy, but the bland guy.
That's not what you said?
No, it was the bland guy.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, look, I don't think I'm for paying Duncan $20 million a year. I don't think I'm for it. I think look, the best way to pay Duncan, or the best way to use Duncan, would be in a trade for a superstar, right? It's either that or you have to pay him, because it's not worth trading Duncan for something outside of a superstar, because I think right now he can get you 2 first-round picks, one this year and one next year. But the thing is, the teams that are going to be asking for Duncan are going to be the Sixers, not the Nets, the Celtics, the Bucks, those types of teams, and you don't want him to go to one of those teams, right? Duncan Robinson is the perfect player to add to a team that already has its big 3, right? We saw it with Joe Harris, right? He got paid after they were able to form that big three, or after they got their big two, and then they had the assets to spend to get their big three and keep Joe Harris, right? He's a luxury type of player that I don't think this Heat team needs right now because they have so many holes in so many other places, right? So I think if you want to have any chance to really retool this summer, you should trade him for picks to get that next superstar, as opposed to paying him $20 million this summer.
So I'm gonna throw this to Alex. Alex, this is gonna be a 2-part question.
Nope.
So I have to ask it. So are you trading Duncan, or are you paying him the $15 to $20 million next season? And
Pay that man.
okay, so we already got that part out of the way. But Adam brought up the Brooklyn Nets, and we've heard reports that as soon as Andre Drummond agrees to a buyout with Cleveland, then he's automatically going there. What do you think about that?
So is that's actually happening? He's going to Brooklyn?
If they can agree to a buyout, then that's where they say he's headed.
Who? Andre Drummond?
Yeah.
He's DeAndre Jordan if DeAndre Jordan took 15 shots a game.
No.
It's a little different than that. They're
Drummond is still in his athletic prime. He can still make a difference, make an impact on as a center. DeAndre Jordan is literally just washed.
And there's a bunch of spacers around him too.
DeAndre can't even rebound anymore. Like that was his whole thing. He can't protect the rim. He can't move. All he's got is some lob dunks, and like Drummond can obviously do some of that too. But he's actually been really good on defense for Cleveland this year, and they still got a top 5 defensive rating. But yeah, pay Duncan.
Okay,
I'm against Adam here. You don't trade him to trade him.
No, okay.
If how about this? I'm with you. I'm with you, Adam. I know what you're saying, but I'm with you if there's already something there. So, like, let's say you're trying to trade for Beal. He becomes available in the summer, and you need to, let's say the Wizards don't want him. You try to flip him for picks, then send to the Wizards. I get that part.
Yeah, I'm not saying trade him to trade him. No, I'm saying trade him for picks to go get the superstar that you think would be available.
As long as it's lined up, I'm good with that.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So 10 seconds or less
for Beal, by the way, because Beal is such a great shooter. But I understand why the Heat held off on trading Duncan in the Harden trade, by the way. Like, I think that just would have been so fucking good. Like, it would have been incredible.
Yeah, so 10 seconds or less, though. You're saying pay him. How much are you paying him? 15 to 20 mil.
Whatever it is, man, whatever that number is, I would obviously rather, he takes something like 15, 16, 17. But if you got to pay him a little bit more, man, like, I just think that's the type of value he has right now. I don't think you could turn other guys into Duncan. I think that's a complete straw man. Like, I understand the Heat are really good at developing shooters and developing guys from nowhere, but Max Strus and Gabe Vincent are not Duncan, and they're the closest thing we got. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand what the premise that he's a luxury, but I just think you hold on to him until you can't anymore. Like, I think this team would not have made the finals last year without Duncan. I think there's no doubting that. I don't think this team creates offense and is such a good offense for 2 straight seasons without Duncan doing what he does. And I just think, like, Jimmy and Bam, to maximize him, you need that type of spacing around them. And that's just how I feel right now. Like, I don't think those guys, like, I struggle imagining this team without Duncan, man. Like, and what their offense would look like.
He's completely ignoring.
What are you running? How are you running it?
He's completely ignoring the 10 seconds or less thing that I said. Hold on, because I want to get this question to Ramadan, and I want to get it to Ricky too. Give me a second. Hold that point though. Ricky, 10 seconds or less. Are you paying Duncan? If so, how much are you paying him?
No, we can make another one.
Okay, Ramla Khan, are you paying Duncan too? How much are you paying him?
Show me the Duncan.
And 20, because I think you could flip him eventually anyways.
Okay, so go ahead, Adam.
I'm paying him $15 million a year. I offer him that in the summer, and I say, good luck. We made you. If you don't take it, good luck somewhere else. We made you. Take the discount, right? That's what I tell him. And then I could pick up JJ Redick off the street on July 1st.
For a veteran minimum contract. So for me, I think I'm with Alex this time. Like except for I'm not paying him whatever he wants. I think my cap is at like 18 mil. I think I offer him 18 mil. If he takes it, then
it's gonna be 20, to be honest.
Yeah, there's gonna be a discount.
Yeah, okay, so if we get a discount, but if he takes 18 mil, then I'm paying him and I'm keeping him. And so that's just where I am at this point. Somebody said if Duncan is worth 15 mil, Jae Crowder was worth 25 mil. Is that true? Like, have you guys changed your stance on how valuable Jae Crowder was since he left? Ramakan, we'll start with you.
Did they say 25?
Yeah, he's not worth $25 million. I'm not paying him that
Almost a
shit.
max.
I'm not paying him that shit.
Maybe
Rumble
for 3
time.
years, not per. Come on.
Yeah, no. I still don't. We had Giannis in mind, so we weren't going to give him 3 years anyway. So there was no point keeping him if that was kind of the goal, because that was the big picture goal, and that's what we had in mind at the time. So you lose some, you win some. We get to develop KZ now, and he's starting to grow into his body defensively at least. So we're going to start to maybe see him in the starting lineup with Jimmy or something like that going forward.
Yeah, once we get KZ, Jay's confidence in shooting the ball, then I think I might be a little more comfortable with that analogy. Ricky, are you missing Jae Crowder a little bit more now that we're at this point in the season? Did he freeze?
Nah.
Speechless.
Oh, that was a good pause, bro. Like
I had 10 seconds, right?
Yeah, you got more than 10 seconds, bro. You just answered the question.
Well, actually, you know what? Let me change my answer. I'll say yeah. Given our defensive woes, we could have used someone like him. I thought Harkless was going to be that, but he's not. Please don't hurt me, Alana. But we'll see. I mean, jury's still out on Mo. Let's run through at least more than half a season with him, and then we can see what happens. Because even Antoine Walker started off rough.
That is very true. Adam, are you missing Jae Crowder yet?
No, I don't think he makes a difference for this team between 6-11 and whatever the record should be, which I think is 9-8. They should be 9-8 right now. So no.
Okay, Alex.
I mean, I miss Jae Crowder. I think the two things can be true. Like, they could use a Jae Crowder, sure, but Jae Crowder definitely would not fix the problems. Like, I don't think he fixes their problems whatsoever. I think we could use a Jae Crowder for sure. Like, I would love it if they still had him. There's no doubt about it. I just think, like, people, we're going into the blame game and everybody's freaking out. We haven't seen this team healthy in so long. We're just like, I miss Jay. We're trying to figure out reasons. Look, man, Jay was good. Jay was real good, but like he was benefiting off of a bunch of wide open shots from the team being healthy and running their offense to a T. Like, put somebody else there who could defend and hit wide open shots. That's really what they need. I don't think Jae Crowder is the difference between them being a finals team or not.
Bro, I want to thank you for I want to thank you for the 99-cent donation. Really appreciate it. Every little bit counts. So I want to take this opportunity to also pay the bills. All these streams, just like this stream, just like all the rest of them, it's brought to you by Biscayne Bay Brewery. Manscaped, use the code 5RSN, the number 5RSN. Shave your balls. Seltzer Mayberg, Prize Pick. Use the promo code 5 when you go to Prize Pick. They'll match your donation. Am I missing anybody, guys? No, I think I got all the ones that I'm gonna say anyway. So I'm good on this game. We can just move on to the next. We got another one tomorrow. Anybody got any final comments, any questions that you want to pose to the stream before we get up off here?
No more Kendrick Nunn.
Oh, what? That was like 3 people at one time.
My bad.
What you said, Ricky? I think you were one of the people commenting.
I didn't say anything.
I was trying to.
What?
What was that?
I have no idea, bro.
All right. Saying, fight week on 5. Recapping the Conor fight. Got some upcoming boxing fights coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you didn't get a chance to watch it, make sure you watch the Clutch Corner episode from yesterday. Alex Toledo joined us. We talked much more basketball than we thought we did. It wasn't much anyway. I went back and watched it. It was a good 10, 20 minutes in there. So go back and watch that. We'll see you guys tomorrow when we take on whoever and probably have a similar result. But yeah, y'all have a good evening, and I'll see you tomorrow.